What up, Challenge fans? We are Final Alliance Podcast. We just watched episode 7, Uncle CT. Thought it was going to be an episode, with a bunch of CT in it. Got excited about it with the title. Of
course.
I love CT.
Yeah.
He's only in it just a little bit.
I love CT too. I maybe it's just one of those things like they knew like the episode was going to be filled with so much that they don't really have to worry about the title of it, because we've really like hammered what the title is and a lot of times, and they're usually good. But what I'm saying is that there is a lot going on here, so I'm thankful for you that you wrote this stuff down, because it's like you're the play-by-play, I'll be the color commentary, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack in this episode, and although maybe because there wasn't a challenge, you look at it and you're like,
it was kind of a strange episode because there wasn't a challenge.
So there's more like social to deal with in this entire thing. And is it good or bad? We're going to find out, because they didn't do a 90-minute episode last week. Nope. Obviously not again this week. Nope. So they they could have called it a two-parter. So we're going to we're going to unravel this, and I'm going to follow your lead.
So really,
there's a lot to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, realistically, since that episode was also Emmy heavy, it could just really be called Alien Part 2.
It could have, yeah. Well, I agree, yeah.
Alien Part 2.
Yeah. And Alien was brought up, I guess Uncle CT was said. Maybe that's what they did.
She said it like twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, and I think maybe that was the thing that they decided that the Uncle CT was going to be in there. But Alien was brought up in this episode too, so oh well.
Yeah, well. All right, so this episode starts kind of in the middle, towards the end of this scuffle between Josh and Fessy. And I say scuffle because they built it up like it was going to be this really big, actual fight. And it really wasn't. I mean, Fessy ended up, was it a slap, a push to Josh's face after he'd had enough?
Yeah, I would say it is get out of my face. I'm putting my hands on you, but then I'm giving it a shove.
Right.
Type of thing. So if you're new to the show, last episode, or the podcast and YouTube, it was left at this because there was a fight after they all get together at the club.
Right.
So, and it's over pizza.
Right.
Not really, though. And can we talk more about that soon, about the pizza or whatever else? Yeah. But Josh and Fessy get into an argument, and
because people pull him in because Corey and Tori had antagonized Amber, saying that Fessy had eaten her pizza.
And like you said, kind of the cliffhanger is that Fessy kind of puts his hands on his face and pushes Josh out of his way. That's kind of the cliffhanger going into Uncle CT episode. Right. So we have to unravel everything that happened because we couldn't show it last week.
So it's still going on. And at this point, they've been separated. Mm-hmm. Josh is jumping up and down like a crazy person. I think Fessy is outside, or close by, close enough to hear this, but not right there. And Josh is jumping up and down.
Well, he's right there.
I don't know. It was just a mess.
It is not right. What he's jumping up and down saying, you're going home, up and down over and over again. And it's
antagonizing it more like, dude, it's over.
Absolutely. And it's like, it's almost like you're celebrating, I got you to put my hands on you. We've seen things like this before.
Oh, for sure.
You can't touch me.
All the time on reality TV.
And he's jumping up and down saying, you put your hands on me, you put your hands on me, blah, blah, blah. Now, you're going home, you're saying you put your hands on me. And I think it's, is it Amber that says it later? It doesn't matter. He's done this before in Big Brother where he would walk around banging pots and pans, calling people meatballs. He's all about like antagonizing, but then making himself be like, I didn't do anything wrong. Josh is not going to look good in this. I'm sorry. I'm telling you right now, he's not winning the edit. Spoiler alert to everybody in this one.
No.
But jumping up and down after you're two males getting into a fight, maybe.
And you're adults.
Yes. And then bounce up and down and say you're going home.
And like, you're not going to get $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's very, very childish. Then as this is happening, Esther and Amber are talking, and Amber's now we're seeing her upset from what had happened last week, where she had gotten the water poured on her.
Yeah.
Remember how she didn't react at the time because she was wanting to talk to Fessy? At this time, now she's talking to Esther, and she's saying, look, like, you're a woman, I'm a woman, I wouldn't do this to you, that's not right. And she's kind of going on and on and on. And then Esther says, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And Amber kind of starts to go on a little bit longer before it registers that she said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so Esther says it one more time, and then they squash the beef. They seem to be okay. At least enough for it to be over that night.
I would say so, and like what you're saying, but Amber is still bringing up things, and she's going to bring up things over and over. But Esther is being the big person, and not to, because going back to last week, that, she's
you love Esther.
Chili adjacent to me. But I do think that Esther's apology was sincere. She's it got the best of me. I don't believe Amber's acceptance of her was very sincere either. I think, on the other hand, you know what I'm saying? I think it was just kind of like, oh, yeah, and then the hug, and she's like, she does the I'm hugging you, but I'm hitting you thing. So I do believe Esther, as a person, not knowing the game, is just like, I'm sincere, knowing that she didn't have to be sincere. And Amber, semi-knowing the game's like, I'm hugging you, but I'm hitting you.
Right.
Maybe this will work out for me in the end if I just play nice right now.
Right. Absolutely. I think for sure.
But she still goes on to talk about Fessy and the Lions. So
yeah, she won't let it go. So then we have Priscilla and Ed and Amber. I wrote down Priscilla, Ed, Amber, love fest, because they're all kind of hugging in a circle, and they're just telling her she's so great and everything. And it kind of reminded me of Bridesmaids when they're on the plane. And the one girl is like, you have a face like Cinderella and you smell like pine needles.
That's really good. That's really
that's
good.
so what it reminded me of, because Amber's upset, because of all the stuff that went down. And they're just like, we love you.
This is going to be like the first of two things during this show where Ed's on and you're like, Ed's
there
on.
He is.
And then you're like,
there he went.
Oh, Ed's off. Yeah, it's so true.
It's like you blink and you miss it. Then Corey and Tori are talking to the group, and we didn't think it would get that bad, da 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 da. They keep saying that throughout the episode. I don't know if I believe. They knew something was going to happen, and Amanda even says that, because at this point they're talking to Amanda. They're in the kitchen, and Amanda says, "Okay, so you didn't think that if you went and got Josh, that was the reaction that you would get." She's like, "You must not know Josh then." Mm-hmm. Which I thought was dead on.
Oh, she's right.
Let's not play games here. Yeah. You knew what was going to happen.
Yes, 100%.
You might feel bad now because of what happened, but you antagonized that with a pretty good expecting what was going to happen.
It's always strange when the voice of reason comes from the psychotic. And that was from her, and you're like, yep. That is completely true.
So my opinion on her has changed just a little bit. I'm going to take the fact that she's with Fessy completely out of the equation, because that just contradicts everything. So pretending that we don't know this. Bananas, who you love, actually had said on his podcast, Death, Taxes, and Bananas, a few weeks ago in regards to her, how smart she is. He said couple of seasons ago when they first met her and she was going from room to room terrorizing everybody, and they thought this chick was just absolutely crazy and just like deranged, really, drunk, until she looked at him and kind of gave a wink, and he's like, oh my God. He's like, this woman is actually like this. She's very calculated. She knows exactly what she's doing here.
Okay.
So when I kind of took that a little bit in my mind and kind of left it there. It's like, this woman is actually pretty smart. So, do I like her all the time? No. Am I going to give her a pass for dating Fessy? No. Is she the voice of reason in this situation? Absolutely.
Okay, I agree. So what you're saying is that, so we've seen now in 7 episodes, she's kind of been bookend here, been a little quiet, and then she came in at the right time. She gave the best one-on-one confessional that she could right now,
right?
Or the time to shine instead of like creating drama. So I'm actually okay with that. Well, what you're saying here, yeah,
absolutely. And she even said to Josh, like, look at what these people did. this is the perfect time for you to look and see who's on your team and who's not. Because these people just got you to get in a fight with your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so she's like, so just... She said, go to your room, which I thought was cute because she's a mom now. She's like, so just go to your room and go to sleep.
Everything should be fine. And and she's right. She is dead on. But again, I like everything you added there because it is maybe that thing of I know when to get my digs in or get my camera time or to stir the pot a little bit, but this isn't it. And maybe it has something to do with Fessy. Maybe it's because
well, and she I think was partners with Josh a couple seasons ago.
Okay.
So she does care about Josh as a person, as a human being.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to.
Then Emmy's the alien. Josh is still a human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Fessy jury's still out. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. So then Josh goes to his room. Fessy and him are then talking, and this is where we see Josh crying.
Whoa. Can we come in when Casey comes in the two and she's like, you two are grown
I forgot
men?
about that.
She's like, you two are grown men and I have to babysit you two? And they're just like, what? And then Josh says, like, you have to pick between me and him beforehand. And she's like, what? Casey, by the way, again, if I did not think until now you and I are talking, because we're right after the show.
Right.
I would have told you no one's winning this episode because we'll do that at the end of the show. Now I'm going to nominate Casey because she comes in and she goes, what are you two doing?
Right. Like she was like nowhere to be. She was like maybe in her room, like hanging out with Nani.
Is this over pizza? Which is not over pizza. I don't care what they say. But she's like, is this over pizza, this and that? And then Josh is screaming at her like, you need to choose right now. And she's like, what? What do you mean I have to choose between you? Now, first off, I don't believe that she thinks those two are like brothers to her or whatever else. But Josh is out of line and be like, you need to choose right now. And she's like, you two are grown men. I do not need to babysit you. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. But
No. You're absolutely right. Because I have so many notes and they're all so sloppy. So that was in there, but I had skipped over it. So yeah. And she did say, Josh is kind of aggressively like, can you believe he did that? Da, 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 da. And she's like, yeah, and I will tell him that. I will also tell you that there's things that I thought that you did wrong in this situation. She's very level-headed, always.
Yes, absolutely.
I appreciate that about her very much. So then Amanda's like, go to your room. She goes to her room, or he goes to his room. That's Josh, that is. Fessy and him are then talking. We see Josh crying.
Yeah, there we go. So what was it, 7.5 or 8.5
yeah,
episodes?
It's episode 7.
Yeah,
so you were like dead on.
Yeah,
you were
right around there.
Dead on, and I was way wrong. Then, Fessy says sorry. Josh cries and says, you dogged me.
This is complete and utter, and this is a family podcast and show, BS. 100%. Someone came to them and said, you're going home, or one of you is going home. You either antagonize him, and they're like, yep. And he walks in there. He's like, listen, bro, I love you. We're best friends.
Sure.
He's like, I know, man. And Josh's like, you're my best friend too. And I'm sorry, but I just get overwhelmed sometime. And I get Josh's game is emotional, and Fessy doesn't know. This was so set up to be like, hey, producers, maybe you're going to bite on the hook on this thing because we know someone crossed the line by either Fessy putting hands or maybe Josh did something to antagonize him. This is such BS. Like right away, I was like, I do not believe the sincerity of this at all.
Well, so in the bedroom, I really do kind of feel like it's not so bad. The next day, that's kind of where I feel like that's some phony baloney.
Oh, the morning coffee, which there's no morning coffee. Please, keep going. Tell me more about that, too.
Well, and Casey's there, and Nani's there when they're talking in the bedroom, too, and Nani's visibly crying, too, because, I'm a Nani. We're emotional people. So she's upset because Josh is crying.
Because she can cry on cue because she's been doing it since Real World Las Vegas.
All right. I didn't watch that season, so that I don't know about. Yeah. But, Casey, again, with a really good line, she's like, these people played you like a fiddle. They played you both like a fiddle. Like, this is ridiculous, with antagonizing the fight.
Sure. But why are we blaming them when these two idiots are that easy to play like a fiddle? It doesn't really take
that is a good
veterans
point.
to do that. Like she's trying to
because it wasn't even that good. It wasn't like a Bananas, like kind of like get it there just a little bit. It was like aggressively obvious.
It was aggressively obvious. Great term, because they pulled him into it to be like, look what's going on, or whatever else. It wasn't like it was over pizza. And we'll get more to that about how that's BS as well. But Nani to be like, oh, I was a partner with you once. I didn't like it, Fessy. If I can roll back the camera, I hated you as a partner.
Her and Josh were partners for a
I
while.
know, but Fessy, she didn't like it because we blame everything. And Josh and her were partners. And like, oh. And then she's like, don't make Casey choose between that because I love Casey. We went on a date. Does everyone remember we went on a date? Oh, remember, guys, that was great. And no, it wasn't great. It was a terrible television. So the thing is like that the whole thing is just staged to be like, hey, production, we're all together. We're all aligned.
Right,
like, please don't send someone home.
Right. And there for sure was some backpedaling happening. Absolutely. Yeah. So then the next morning, we have CT, Devin, Tori, and Emmy in a bedroom, just visiting. Emmy says she wants, a new partner. She wants Uncle CT to be her new partner because he's perfect, which I agree. He would be a perfect partner.
I'm not going to argue about that at all. Yeah.
She tells us, and this is the second instance of her saying something to somebody and then going and telling these vets the opposite, or what she said. So she had previously talked to Berna, who it seemed like they were friends, not long before. She said 5 minutes before, and told Berna, I'm not going to take your partner. And then she told the group, and she's like, yeah, I told her that. Ha 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 ha.
She said, I'm taking Uncle CT. And they were like, and at that point, they were all excited about it. So Devin's there, CT's there. Emmy's there, and who's the other one there?
CT, Devin, Tori.
Okay. And they have her right in the hot sauce or whatever.
Oh, right, yeah. So
but they show the clip of her hugging, and Berna says, like, don't take my partner. She's like, oh, I won't take your partner. But, I mean,
it's back to, like, the Huey Gabo thing.
Emmy doesn't really have a choice.
Right.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think Emmy's smart. I don't think Emmy's doing something to,
and who's
backstab
with
her.
Devin right now? Amber? Because he's the only person that's been picked like a bunch of times.
I believe so.
Yeah, so you don't want to. At this point, she's rolling with the vets. It's going to have to be like a Berna,
she knows she got to lose her.
A Berna or a Bettina.
Yeah,
one or the other. And Corey's a nice person, but I would rather have CT as a partner.
Yes, and they get along, and they
they're friends. And that's what you want in a partnership.
I mean, the title episode's Uncle CT. They even showed it previously on the episode. Like, they were talking. They get game. And CT will say, like, I just don't get Berna. And she talks, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but she talks too much game for CT.
Right.
And with different groups that he's like, why are you talking to them right now about things? Like, why are you, forecasting what you think's going to happen or recklessly speculating what's going to happen when you can just be quiet?
Right. Yeah, she's a little into her head a lot.
Yeah.
A little into her head a lot. So, they sign in hot sauce to make it for real. That's when I realized that CT is left-handed. I'm left-handed.
Okay.
Never. So, it's just something. It's something, lefties notice, So that's awesome. That made me really happy. So now they're in this hot sauce alliance or whatever. Fessy and CT, then this is where we see their little stage talk outside.
Oh, Fessy and Josh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wrote CT. I was just in CT mode. So Fessy and Josh.
Again, it's another one. I know I jumped ahead. I hate this. Hey, bro. We're best friends. I know.
And Fessy's like, you put a lot of pressure on me.
He's like, I know, and because you have such a strong social game.
And you won Big Brother. I haven't won anything. Not even football.
Not
even football. Not Big Brother. Not
Warrior.
This.
And you have such a strong social game, and so it's so much pressure being partners with you. It's ridiculous. The whole thing.
It was too much.
By the way, for as much as Josh jumped up and down and said, you're going home, Fessy said, you've done nothing. You have done nothing. You are nothing. You mean nothing to me. Fessy said all this. And now they're going to have this like coffee talk, which there's no coffee involved. Only it is like tight sweatpants that are tapered at the very bottom of their ankles.
I think those are joggers.
Okay, whatever. They're not jogging. They're sitting down. And Casey's like, then she comes in like, oddly out of nowhere, and she's like, "Hey guys," and they're like, "Yeah, we got this together. We're bros again." She's like, "That's my boys. That's what I want from this alliance. The alliance is done, guys.
so done.
It's so over with. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad when they talk about the alliance that every time they say the Big Brother alliance, they have to go to the drone shot of the entire like compound where they live because everyone's eyes are rolling when they're saying it out loud. So every time they say Big Brother alliance is strong, they have to go to this drone shot because everyone's in the confessional like, so done. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's funny. So then it looks like the next day, because I noticed Fessy was wearing a different outfit, or maybe he just decided
Different joggers.
He wanted, well, because he was in white before, then he's in black, and then he had the red bandana. So he was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna, Cobra Kai this. If
Yeah.
I'm going home, I better look tough.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know? So it looks like the next day could be the same day. TJ is getting ready to get there. They're all kind of waiting around. Huey makes a nice comment to Josh, and he's like, Josh, you look so anxious.
Why are you anxious? Yeah,
You look you look so anxious. Like, it was so funny the way he said it.
Like, there's like 18 competitors just sitting there, and Huey decides to walk out. And the thing is, he's like got a glass of, which was like a wine glass of water. I don't care if it's
so
not
fancy.
but he's sitting there, and he's like, "You look anxious. Why are you so anxious?" Like, he picks one person out.
Like, he was not just there.
Yeah.
And he had previously the night before said, "This is great. I kind of want this to keep going
Yeah.
because maybe then I won't have to go into elimination."
Because it's obviously Emmy and I are going in after,
Right.
deliberations. So, yeah.
I just thought it was so funny. Like, the fact that he didn't react to that is impressive. So he does have some control over his emotions. Because if someone said that to me, I'd have been like, "You're kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think I might look that way? What do you
Well,
think?"
Yeah, maybe he does have some, yeah. But I think maybe you can only react to his Big Brother lines. But yeah,
He's not allowed.
Huey's got that, and then and his nonverbal during the Lair is great too. But yeah.
So TJ comes into the house. He says, "Meet me by the pool." Mm-hmm. And so now we're like, okay, so we speculated last week. Is Fessy going home? Is Josh going home? Is Esther maybe going home? We didn't know.
Yeah, I thought you did a great job about that last week, yeah.
And so, TJ says, "Meet me by the pool," mentions all three of them. Fessy, you put your hands on someone. Josh, you need to chill out. You were embarrassing.
Oh, yeah, you embarrassed yourself. You embarrassed...
That was such a dad speech.
Definitely. Yeah, he nailed it on him, yeah.
And Esther gets a warning. This is it. You're a rookie. This is your only warning, which I thought was fair. Because for water, I mean, it's not even going to stain. And they said they made apologies right then. That did seem genuine enough.
Yeah.
So then he says to Josh, chill out. You were embarrassing yourself. Something. And he said, with that being said, I guess we'll keep Josh. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was a strange phrase. I guess we'll keep Josh.
Yeah.
And then Fessy, you put your hands on someone, you're deactivated. You got 15 minutes to say goodbye and pack up your stuff.
Yep.
So then Fessy does this, tearful goodbye.
Ugh.
Which is just annoying. So last week I was starting to get on his team, if you remember. He... in regards to the argument with Amber, he reacted appropriately by, trying to disengage. I was starting to even come along on the same side of him in regards to, you weren't really in an alliance with Amber. It's not really, you didn't really blindside her last season. But then this weekend I listened to Banana's podcast for last week where Fessy was on it.
And this is on Spotify.
It's on Spotify.
Death, Taxes, and Bananas, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So it's part of like Ringer.
Yeah.
And it was an hour. And he didn't do a darn thing to make me like him.
Really? Still talked about himself or made it was always everybody else's fault but his?
Lots of that.
Mm-hmm.
Bananas is trying to give him advice at one point because he's giving a lot of excuses in regards to like last season. And he's like, look, man, I want to try to help you out here. You need to be more self-deprecating. He's like, make fun of yourself.
Yeah,
do that
yeah,
before anybody else does. Take, responsibility, blah, 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 blah. And then he's doubling down. Well, if it would be this, da, 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 da. Said something at one point in regards to, him being a villain or a superhero, and he has a long pause. Bananas is like, oh, wow, so you don't like being the villain. And then he says something along the lines of, in my everyday life, I consider myself a superhero. Did not care for that.
Yeah.
He was with Amanda, asked about that. He said, we're just seeing what happens. Didn't love that. He started talking some smack. Bananas was talking some smack on Amanda, talking about, when she's at your house, does it cost more for the travel or hiring an exorcist?
Yeah.
Which was a good line. It was funny.
Yeah.
And he just laughed. Like, he didn't. I mean, if that's your girl, like, you at least, like, say something.
Yeah.
And then there were all these excuses about, like, why he wasn't good with different people in the house. And he's like, I don't know. I didn't know why we had beef. Like, him and we never talked. We never talked.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, yeah. I mean, we're Midwesterners. So if someone's in the room or on the street, I'm going to acknowledge them. Good morning. And if I was around this person day after day after day and they're just not talking to me, that comes off as pompous and rude.
But he was in a Big Brother house and he made it to jury, and he was a bitter juror. I understand that, but he knows when you're around just that many people, starting off with 16 people, and you have to be around them, you need to have interpersonal relationships with them.
So all these excuses of this person didn't like me or whatever, but I don't know why, because I didn't talk to him. I don't know. It just, none of it worked for me. I was hoping for something. Bananas even mentioned, like, are you on an apology tour? He got very, like, kind of snippy on that. He's like, no, I am not.
No. But so it would lead to, like, a great Twitter poll, but I don't even know where that would go. So now I'm going to ask you, Sarah, like, if Fessy doesn't fit in, which I'm sorry, I really don't think he fits in with the challenge. What reality competition does he fit in? I don't. I
hated him on Big Brother. Okay. I didn't get it.
I didn't like him either, and I don't think he's ever going to be able to have a partner like The Amazing Race. Survivor, he's not going to be able to handle anything.
No.
So where does he fit? Is there any type of reality?
Ninja Warrior.
He said that in tonight's episode. I didn't win American Ninja Warrior.
Oh.
He said, I didn't win in football. I didn't win in Big Brother. I didn't win American Ninja Warrior.
Can he dance? Maybe Dancing with the Stars?
Fine. But he's got to work with a partner.
Oh, work with a partner and people vote. People don't like him. No one's going to vote for you.
So that's the thing. Like, if he's going to continue this and Bananas is offering him some advice and he's like, nah, I don't want to do that, where is this taking this kid?
I don't know. And kid is a good word because I think that there is obviously some athleticism potential. He wins dailies all the time. It's just like he was starting to get me potentially on his side, and then that interview was just like blech.
If you are out there, Fessy, I'm telling you right now, and you want to do something outside of what you're currently doing, the Quad City Steamwheelers are going to have an open tryout coming up soon in October, and I don't have the date off the top of my head. But you can come here to the Quad Cities, and you could be sitting right next to me and telling me everything about your tryout and what you're going to be doing next, Fessy. So why don't you do that? Why don't you try something else? We'll follow you with cameras about your tryout for the QC Steamwheelers, because I don't think it's happening anymore for the challenge. Your place just doesn't fit.
I think he'll get at least one more call.
He will, and he'll maybe make it to a final, but he won't win a final.
And no one,
they'll vote him out. They'll be like it'll end up being a Rivals, and he's gonna get screwed over.
Oh yeah, Rivals would not be bad. Yeah. Like just for a season coming up.
Yeah.
I can't see there being a good amount of people like rooting for him to win. I know one person that kind of liked him because he used to date some other girl from Big Brother. But I think since she started watching the show, she's kind of onto our ways about how he's not that nice of a person.
But I mean, just like you said, Bananas podcast, he's on the. If CT was hosting one, same thing. He's not going to change He's not going to change his interview for CT. So we agree Bananas on the Mount Rushmore. We agree that CT is.
Always.
Anyone else, he's not going to change it. So the people that watch it loyally, like you and I, are going to be like, no. And the people that are on the show are going to listen to that because they want to see what he's dishing out about him. And they're going to go, nah, he's not for me. He's just sorry. He's not for anybody but himself.
No.
So come play for the Quad Cities Steamrollers.
But at least, if he is only for himself, at least he believes he's a superhero.
He believes he's a superhero.
He's got that going for him.
Good. Yeah, me too.
I wonder, who he thinks he's like. Does he think he's like Hulk or like Captain America? Maybe he's more like a DC, like Batman. I wonder what superhero he thinks he's like.
Oh my God, that's such a good question.
Is it the Flash?
It's such a good question, because if you pick DC, everyone's gonna be like, "Of course you do," because
right.
Marvel would be like whatever else. He thinks he's Hulk or whatever else. Like, I'm this big teddy bear because
smart.
I'm sensitive. Remember, because when he was always talking to the other girl from the year before, like, people don't get it. I'm sensitive.
I'm an introvert.
Yeah. Yeah, and then but when I get going, I take off this turtleneck, this white turtleneck, it's me. Yeah, he definitely thinks he's Incredible Hulk. Ugh. Hey, can we move on? Is it enough with him?
Well, and here's the thing. I will say this, and Bananas did say that in his podcast. He's like, whether you like him or not, his name has been in your mouth. So even though he's going home, and I am so here for that, we've talked about him quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to not have him to talk about.
Sure.
I'm okay with that, though. Mm-hmm. So, moving on, he did his tearful goodbye.
With mascara on, because he knew it was coming. He truly had mascara on for the entire thing. Dear Lord.
They're going to come in for the tight shot. You might as well, he had his, Cobra Kai stuff going on.
And this is what we're talking about when Farley says, we need to have a camera on you. Because I'm like, why is he wearing mascara right now? And you said, because he knows they're coming in for the tight shot. I'm like, because he knows they're coming in for the tight shot. Okay. Yeah.
Then Kyle we haven't seen Kyle yet this episode, and he comes on in the interview, and he's like, "Oh, we're so heartbroken that Fessy was deactivated. It was so awful." Of course, heavy sarcasm, because it's like, we don't have to worry about him.
We love Kyle, right?
We love Kyle.
Okay. Can I give a hot take about Kyle?
Okay.
He was on twice tonight. Both times I was like, I can't figure out if Kyle looks like the villain in his Scooby-Doo cartoon before or after they take off the mask. He looks like both.
Depending.
He's like, he's got it on, and you're like, oh, Kyle doesn't look like Kyle all of a sudden. And they took it off, and like, oh, it was Kyle the whole time. He's like, yeah, and I would have got away with it if it wasn't for your kids. I'm like, Kyle, you look like both. The villain and after when the mask is pulled off.
He's one of those men that has the ability to be very attractive and also kind of like a, I don't know, Steve Buscemi kind of looking guy at the same time.
But tonight I was just kind of like, he looks like both. Like, I love his one-on-ones, but
also, his son was born last week.
Oh, wow.
A little boy named Crew Jax. Crew Jax.
So we got CJ.
Okay. CJ. Ooh, I didn't put together the CJ. I was too hung up on Crew because I was like, that's interesting. So, CJ. I like it. So we're in the chamber.
Yeah.
TJ has, told everyone once Fessy had to go, you got to be in there in 15 minutes or I'm choosing for you.
Yeah.
Tori gets it. We get into there. Before that, they're kind of, Devin and Ashley, they're kind of trying to talk. And Devin's like, look, we're going in there now because I don't want TJ to make this decision. But they're all kind of quickly scrambling, but they don't really know where they're going to go with this. Once they get in there, Tori and Corey both apologize to the group. They're like, look, that went too far. I'm so sorry.
That's so terrible. That was terrible of them.
I appreciate that they at least said something to the group.
That's cowardice to feel like they're going to be thrown in because there might be some people that really feel like they overdid it over the pizza thing.
So you think they did that out of fear of being voted in?
Yes, I completely did.
I thought it was more just accountability.
Okay, I I'm always going to listen to you. But to me, I was like, you really think like that's the reason why? Like, there's no reason for it. Esther should have gone in. We're reading ahead. You and I are talking. We're like, hey, listen. The smart thing to do is send an Esther because Fessy's gone, but TJ's going to come in and say, like, yep,
Right.
wrong idea, but now it's going to be a guy's because you guys don't know what's going on. But for them to just offer it up, be like, yeah, I just didn't know the pizza thing was going to go this far. And Corey's like, yeah, me too. I didn't know. And then I know Devin said something.
And then Amber was like, yeah, it really got out of hand. But then, Berna and a couple other people get very upset that she doesn't take any accountability in there.
Yeah. But she was also like, thank you, Corey. I appreciate you.
Oh, she did.
I'm like,
She did.
But then Devin's talking about it. He's like, well,
In his interview.
Yeah, let's get no, he's like, he's sitting there. He's like, let's speed this up. Okay. And then I see my guy, Ed, over Devin's right shoulder. I'm like, oh, man, I haven't seen Ed in a while. And then Ed says something like, well, why don't you guys just all pretty much make this, make it all figured out soon. And Devin's like, I'm going to co-sign what he does.
Right. He's like, this is a repeat of last week. We've got someone whose partner was deactivated. Last week it was Logan because of Anissa's shoulder.
And I was like, Devin, come on, hook up with Ed. We like
Right,
it. We like you
right.
guys. We want to see more of you two together.
Absolutely.
We want that tag team to happen.
Yes.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yes. And Devin in an interview said, in regards to Corey and Tori apologizing, he's like, oh, world's, smallest violin. He said, I'm not buying it.
No. He was dead on.
Absolutely. So then they vote. No surprise. Esther is compromised.
Yeah.
Manny and Emmy say, let's see here. What did I put? I scribbled so many things this episode.
All right. So Manny and Emmy are talking, and then.
Oh, yeah, afterwards. Because Emmy is most likely going to go in.
Yeah.
But she hasn't been voted in yet. So Manny says, do you want to go in to win so you could potentially switch partners?
Sure.
Emmy's obviously nervous. She's like, I don't know. Do you think I could beat her? And
It's line of the night.
Manny
line of
said,
the night.
about 78% sure you can beat her.
Line of the night. Line of the night.
78%
Does
sure.
not know what the Lair is.
It's a C+.
Does not know what the Lair is, but he's like, I got you around 78%. That is like, you want your best friend to be like, I got you. I know for a fact that I'm going to build you up.
I got you 78%.
I feel like 78 out of 100 times you're gonna come through with this. 78%. She's like, okay.
It's just so specific.
She's like, then vote me in. And he's like, okay. Yeah. She's like, I need to do this.
That's a little more honest than probably a lot of friends. Some friends would be like,
Yeah.
I'm there for you 100%. And it's like, they really aren't. They're probably more 78%. So it's a little funny. So, she wants it to be something physical, not a puzzle. So we'd already seen the preview that looks like a hall brawl. So we're thinking, okay, this could potentially happen.
But let's keep this in mind. She says, I think I can win something physical. I don't think I can win a puzzle thing. All right. So she's not, if he's at 78%, I don't think when she gives that interview that she's at 78%. She's just thinking at 51%, as long as it's physical, I'm fine.
Right.
I'm way less than 50.
Well, yeah, a puzzle
else.
against Esther, there's no chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
So then Berna's got to talk to Casey. And as this episode was happening, I was getting very frustrated with Berna. But now thinking about it, I get all of her feelings. I get her feelings of being concerned about your awesome partner going to someone else. I get your feelings of someone who is pretending to be your friend, not actually being your friend.
Yeah.
I get her feelings of being kind of annoyed with Amber.
Okay.
But in the episode, I think I looked at you and I was like, I hate her. And I'm like, and she hates Amber. This is exhausting. This woman is just, it's too much. But now thinking back, I actually kind of see her point of view. So Berna goes up to Casey and says, she's frustrated with Amber. Amber never apologized to the group for, starting everything.
Yeah.
The night before, and I just put I feel like she hates her. Then we see CT talking to Tori, and he says he doesn't trust her. She's reckless. She's doing too much. She's a liability. She's crossing the line. It's very obvious CT wants Emmy as a new partner.
You know what's odd? That Tori doesn't go, I don't want to hear this because I already got in trouble with the Pizzagate thing.
Right.
So, hey, CT, I don't want to be involved in any more drama. Really weird how she never, ever steps away from that.
Right. Yeah, no, she likes to be into it.
Sure. But yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
but when you're in a deliberation, like, hey, everybody, didn't realize like I was creating drama or I was involved in any conversation that might do that.
Meanwhile, she's like, so what? What were you saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, she's Manny and Casey are talking. Casey's like, so it's Emmy for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Emmy had told Manny that, she wanted to see what it was. And Casey's like, look, here's how this goes. If you let the person see it, they're going to chicken out every time.
I thought it was a great line.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Again, that woman is smart. So let's just say she's going in, it just is what it is. But she, Casey does say, I don't trust Amber. It'd be better if she goes home.
For my game, she does say that, yeah. And the thing is, we were talking this, and then you have Manny saying, like, she's my friend, and if she goes home, I sent my friend home.
Right.
So it leads us to believe, like, all right, maybe there's going to be a twist
right.
going in.
And there was, because then they're getting ready to go to the Lair, and it's very big, like, close-ups of Amber, and, Jeremiah gives her a little kiss, and she's zipping up her shirt, and I'm like, oh my God, she's going to go in.
Yeah. Oh, and for everyone out there who are watching, that's exactly the way the game should be played. When you're doing it, be like, all right, it's only good for my game. Be like, I don't want to send my friend home. That's exactly 100% the way it should be. But we'll figure it out. Yeah.
So we get to the Lair. We know Esther's going in. Then Manny says the Spider-Man quote, great power comes great responsibility. I'm going to put in my friend Emmy because that's what she wants, essentially. So now I was thrown off by this elimination because at first it looks like a hall brawl. So I kind of didn't even really listen to any of the directions at first because I'm like, oh, great, it's a hall brawl. And I just kind of like in my mind.
Yeah, we talked about it last week because everyone, it's a hall brawl. But bell ring?
Something like that. They got to pass just like in a hallway, just like hall brawl. And then they got to climb up like it's like a chain link fence and ring their bell. Yeah. And it's best 2 out of 3.
Sure. That's exactly what it is, yeah.
They start, they go through, they're stuck in the middle for a while. Esther won't let go. She's an anaconda.
What am I supposed to do? How could I barely move my leg one way or the other to, transform my body to get through? This is so tough. She's such a strong competitor. Wow. First phase is really, really tough. I hope I can get through it. That's what it is.
And then after all that, then she climbs up and I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, that's new. And you're like, Sarah, it's not hall brawl. And I'm like, oh, it's something different? Because it sure looks like hall brawl to me.
Yeah.
So then they go again, and it seems much more easy for Emmy that second round. So Emmy gets the first point, and she gets the second point. Emmy, very excited, very emotional. She's down on her knees. She's got the sand, and she's like, it's for my grandma and my mom and, I don't know, Romania.
Yeah.
And it's for all the things. She also said before she went in that to Mr. TJ, she'd been on the chopping block since she was born.
Yes. That was in there, yeah. That was definitely said there, yeah. Can we stop?
Some of the strange things she says, I'm just like, what? But then also I'm like, okay, so a little bit makes me want to hear about her backstory.
No, there is no backstory. She's just too emotional of the whole thing. Like, why is CT excited to be there? And Berna turns around and is like, wait, was this always happening the entire time? She's an emotional player, and CT needs to be like, not for me. Not for me at all. Like, this is not working. She's too emotional. You can't grab sand and be like, this is for my grandma, this is for me, this is for Romania. Like, what? This is like our second Romanian, I'm sorry, in one season, our second Romanian person. It's not like we've been like, it's not like for 36 seasons prior, Sarah, we've been like, if Romania can just pull out one victory. This might be it. This might be it for the challenge.
Change everything for us.
The
like
challenge,
Miracle on Ice.
The challenge will no longer be thought as the 5th major sport. It might be moved up a little bit if Romania could do it. And she's like, God, sand. She's like, this is for Romania. Like, no, it's not. Like you didn't expect to win this. You just said like I have to do this or else that's it. Like, and like now I saw the whole thing. I thought Amber would have won it if it would have gone the other way, if Amber would have gone in instead of her.
Right.
But I don't know.
It's true.
I thought Amber would have blown her out of the water, but now I don't know. I
did not anticipate Emmy winning this one.
No, but Esther missed on the second one. She missed the bell, and so that's how she got it. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, she missed it." But 2 out of 3, we've been through that before. Like shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever else. She won it. And then she picks CT and Berner's out there. But can we talk about Esther, though?
Okay.
My girl?
So, first of all, then Emmy's like super stoked. You know, she has all her stuff. She's like, this built confidence. I love the challenge.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
So I'm like, oh, great. You know, she's going to be back for a couple seasons after this. So,
why?
Amber says to Esther, trying to be polite, you know, hey, well done. And Esther says, don't tell me well done.
Nope.
If I come back, I'm coming for you.
I love it.
And something along the lines of like, it won't be done until I have a pound of flesh.
A pound of flesh. Dang.
These women are coming out like hot when they leave. Like they're like, no to these women, apparently these vets that have wronged them on the way out the door. They're like, I get the last laugh.
So listen to me about this Nigerian, Esther. Who I'm very happy that you and producer Klinger have put things out there, like Jay Foss likes her a lot, which I do. And I clicked on Twitter or whatever else, and she's an influencer, challenger, and a lawyer. And then she tells people still, I need this money. That woman's hungry for anything. And then she says, I'm coming for a pound of flesh. She's an influencer. She's got a lot of followers. She's on the challenge, so she's on television. She's a lawyer.
Very smart.
And she's ready to just go after a pound of flesh.
And beautiful.
Scared as hell of her if she comes back, if I was anyone.
You're almost kind of shaking, too.
I'm shaking out of excitement.
Scared as hell. So TJ said, you know, spend your time on the challenge for now. Take care. So that's close. That's close to him saying, I hope we see you again. Yeah. I think maybe TJ was shook a little and he was like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I think he's just more annoyed like it doesn't work out, like he could have had a male, female type of thing.
Right.
And he's got to be annoyed. I'm sorry. TJ isn't a BSer. He's got to be annoyed being like, all right, now, because it's Huey and Berner. We didn't say that.
Oh, yeah. So Huey and Berna then are the new partners.
And he's got to be annoyed being like,
God,
we're
how
doing
much
this
longer
again.
of this?
Yeah. So
I agree.
That's the problem. And Berna, she's upset because Huey. Huey's more excited. And I did say earlier in the show, the podcast, that I was gonna talk about him. Like, even when before Emmy was called down, like he was so quick to kick her in the back to be like, go, you go, it's you. So, Berna.
Oh,
there's something about her. I'm gonna ask you this. So she comes in and Nelly is with Ashley.
correct.
And then
They're just like friends with benefits. It's not like
that's fine. But then Berna.
We haven't really seen anything as far as them being together since.
No, but at the end of it, Nelly says that. But just by the eyes, have they made her better looking as the episodes have gone on?
Oh yeah, she's very striking this episode. Very striking.
Because I was like, I didn't want to be like, oh, is it because like there was men's attracted or whatever else?
No, I agree with you.
But she looks completely different, and I don't know if it's edit or whatever else, but completely different. And she is a very good-looking human being. Before, it was just like, I'm an acrobat. I'm like, oh, she's an acrobat. That's great.
Right.
She really does.
It almost looks like her hair got darker, and I know they're not allowed to like color their hair or do anything to change their appearance in the middle of the show.
Maybe her natural look is.
So maybe it's just the time has passed and it's washed out of her hair or something.
Maybe that's it. Because Sarah, and I don't think we've ever talked about this before. Usually, we talked about someone being like cut the other episode, maybe, or 2 weeks ago, maybe Josh.
It was Berna's nose.
No, I mean, but cut, like guys being working out. But it was Bananas that has let us in the background that said, like, pay attention to them. They're not on cycles anymore. Those guys will walk in on roids, but they don't have that thing or whatever else. And now maybe Berna, without having, and I don't want to speculate that she dyed her hair or did whatever else, but maybe her natural look is better. Or maybe they just said like, hey, she's going to be a pivotal part of the story, so we're going to make the lighting a little different.
Right, could be.
She does look different to me, and I'm glad you.
Yes,
I'm glad
I noticed that
recognized
this
it
week too.
Yeah.
I did as well. And obviously, she's very upset when CT is chosen by Emmy.
Yeah.
Emmy says, she wants to pick Uncle CT as her partner, and you can see even before that, maybe when she says Uncle CT or right before that, you see Berna just go. Because she knows what's going to happen and she's frustrated, especially since Emmy had said she wasn't going to do that. So based on her body language, TJ asks like, hey, like you got something to say? Yeah. And she says exactly that. She's like, I thought this was my friend. Let's see here. I'm trying to see. So CT's like, I got to act surprised. Like I didn't know that this was happening, which was hilarious.
She does say that. She goes, well, no one really, she doesn't buy the surprise thing.
Right. And Berna says, like Emmy, I think she's a very nice person, but she's naive and I think she's been brainwashed by these people.
That was interesting.
And then Emmy looks over at her and she's like, you're not my friend, bro.
Yeah. You're not my friend.
But based on what we saw, that little clip in the bedroom of like them being friendly with each other and her saying, no, I'm not going to take CT, that does kind of make me think like, oh yeah, I wouldn't like that either. And before the episode even aired tonight, Berna was posting on her social media that it was like a picture from the preview, because the part of them in the bedroom talking about wanting to switch with CT and be partners with CT was in the preview that was on Twitter and Instagram. Mm-hmm. So she had screenshotted it and said, oh, wow, like everyone acted like this wasn't a thing. It is a thing. Everyone said I was crazy, but look, like this was planned. And like, so she's still not great about it.
No. Berna.
And
Emmy's getting how this actually works in things like The Challenge or Big Brother or reality television in the United States or whatever else. And here's the deal. You can bounce checks in reality television in America. Sorry, Berna. She may have said, I wrote a check that we're best friends and I'm not going to do this. That check bounced. And she said, I'm now putting it in Uncle CT. It's not going into your account.
Ah, okay. Now
and that's the thing that she's worried about. She's like, I can't believe we did this hug. And like, that's not the way it works. Like you can bounce them and then go, well, it was better for me and this account was better than yours.
Well, and Emmy, she's doing a really good job right now by befriending all of those vets. She's saving herself at least a week or two before her next time going.
Sure. She's going to go. It's going to be a meltdown.
And if it wasn't her, it would be, or if it wasn't one of them, it'd be her. So she's putting herself in a position where, okay, next week it's going to be Berna or Bettina or whoever or Priscilla, but not me because they like me.
I'm going to fast forward to 3.5 minutes of me doing this during the reunion show with Emmy. Because it's gonna happen.
Will there be a performance?
Yes. No.
Will
just
it be
where
of a
she
new
just
single
talks
or
and
will
talks.
It be of Alien?
And the moderator is just like, "Can you just stop?" And I'm just gonna be like, "She's
she'll
gonna
probably
go home.
be like via Zoom or whatever."
Oh God, it'll be worse if she's via Zoom. Yes, yes, she'll be back again, but that's gonna be me during the reunion. That's it. That's what's gonna happen because she just will talk in circles.
It's never like completely my cup of tea. I prefer like the actual show because usually sometimes it gets too dramatic.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
And then with her, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then she's built for this, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So who won the episode?
That's a great question. Who won the episode?
Casey.
Casey won the episode. Casey probably had the best at it.
Absolutely.
I agree. I think that Josh
or Emmy. They're really, not necessarily in my opinion, but she won the elimination. She's poised to be in that Tabasco sauce alliance with Devin and CT and Kyle and Tori. So I guess you could say her stock's rising would be more than winning the episode.
Stock's rising for Emmy, but it won't be for long.
Right.
Casey wins the episode, but it's only because those two ding-dongs, and she's like still trying to be the smartest out of them, and thank goodness they didn't have a dating scene with Nani, so then that would have been it. I would have lost it there. Who had the worst edit?
Sure.
It was Josh, right? Didn't I say that earlier?
Yeah.
I thought Josh did. I really thought Josh had the worst edit. I really did.
Yeah.
You can't go up and down like that and not have. I'm sorry, people worry about your like mental well-being. Mm-hmm. You can't be like, I'm friends with you, I'm not friends with you, then I'm screaming at you, you're going home like you're the worst person ever, and then be like, bro, you're my best friend. And again, I'm not speculating on mental well-being. We've all been in certain situations where.
Oh, I'm sure the house would make me go crazy.
Yeah, but like you can't. You can't go up and down like that and expect to have like this high of like your stock or the best edit. Or
right.
Else. Yeah. They're only taking what you give them.
Right. I do think though, and I don't know if I said this earlier or not, in a previous preview when we talked about this, I think in episode 0 or episode 1, that altercation between those two, Josh had made contact with the face of a security person.
Okay, yeah.
That was then removed from what we saw tonight.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then he did get a decent edit because they were able to scrub that from it and keep him on the show.
Yeah. No challenge tonight. Two-parter. We get to see more how this goes forward. Now we're stuck with not stuck. I don't want to say that because really now we've now crossed over that hump of the Fessy Josh altercation.
Yeah.
Now we need to just get over that rookie combination when they finally have to split is really what we're looking forward to now.
Right.
So when we did episode 00 or episode 1, we're like, here's what we know is going to happen. This is what we're looking for. And I think we started episode 4. We're like, it's coming. It's coming.
Right. I know. So now it's kind of like we got all this buildup. So it's like, now what's next?
It's got to be one of these going to split. And that's when we're going to see, and if we go back to over-unders, see Nelly, Corey going crazy. Tori's going to get involved somewhere and be like, what, they're all, and then Devin's going to
turning on each other.
Devin's got to push. Josh's going to get worse on somebody, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so let's go back to it. There are 19 episodes?
19 episodes, plus 1, maybe 2 reunion episodes.
Okay.
So we're not quite halfway, which is crazy to think about.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do, what I would like to do for next episode. If it happens when we lose the rookie and now it's all like down to whatever else, let's set another over-under.
Oh, I like it.
From that, like who's going to turn on first, who's going to do whatever else. But what we really need, because we need Huey and
who's this? Berna.
We need
it
them.
Looks good based on that preview. They're leading us to believe that maybe.
Why are you buying this? Why
because
are you
I'm
buying
gullible.
This? Why
I am brainwashed.
Did you watch
and
MTV
naive,
Music Awards
just
2
like
as the
Emmy.
greatest night ever?
I am brainwashed naive, just like Emmy.
Yes. Anyway, so if they
Huey's
pull it
not
up,
a bad swimmer though. There's a chance.
No, he's yeah.
Okay.
That'll
anyway.
be the thing. It's tentative, but I think that's a good thing to be like now. If we get to know the actual characters, if everything comes to fruition like the vets want, then we can. It's almost like a hard reset to be like, okay, we can do over unders of like who's going to be eliminated this episode, who's going to cry then, who's going to do whatever else, because we know them better than we know than the new people.
So do we want to guess who the first like vet from here on out to go home will be?
No, I think we wait till next episode see what happens, and then we start all over again. But
okay.
Yeah, is there any other like what would Bananas do? Bananas would have done a lot more on this.
He might have asked dude why he looks so anxious, but he would have said it a little more sarcastically.
Oh, he would have been like Josh,
Josh,
you let Huey.
You see him anxious.
He would have been like, Josh, you're gonna let Huey just come right in here and say that? Like we're all just hanging out and this bro just doing this, yeah. Yeah, Bananas would have pushed the deliberation a little bit more.
Right.
Been like, why does it have to be Esther? Because Bananas would have been hitting on Esther by then. He would have been like, why does it have to be Esther? Why can't it be this people? But I mean, I love the what would Bananas do, but
yeah, I don't know that there really was one tonight.
Because it's there hasn't been a lot. It really takes a lot of veterans to push things,
right?
To show like what Bananas do in this, and now is more just like those two ding dongs, and they did it on themselves. Like, there's not much he needed to do, and so. But I think we're getting good challengers.
Yes.
And
we have a lot of strong competitors left.
I think next week will be interesting if Huey and Berna can pull it off. That will be the big
burn.
Deal. Yeah. If not, then it's just
same thing.
Then it's going to be I don't think there's any more rookie pairs. Well, there could
be,
but
so they would just vote 2 separate rookies in against Berna and Huey, like they've done.
If they lose,
so it'd be like Jeremiah and Bettina because they haven't gone in yet.
But I think next week, because we're getting so close to the half point, I think we can start more over unders or whatever else and have more fun with that.
All right. So if you guys think of any over unders we should add, that would be great, or we would be greatly appreciate it. What else you got for me?
If you think there's anything that Fessy can do outside of this reality television, because we brought that up, and which I don't, let us know on that. And then
I guess he was a substitute teacher. Somebody said on our YouTube.
I believe he was. Yeah. Was he? Did he use that as a thing on Big Brother though to make it seem like he was a substitute teacher?
That I don't know.
Anyway, let's figure out a way to tag him in the tryouts for the Quatsi Steamwheelers and get him involved to that. That's what we'll do. We'll invite him to come play for the Quatsi Steamwheelers. I got as much as I don't like the dude, I got an extra bedroom. He can come hang out with me. So we'll make a reality show out of it.
Oh God.
Remember, instead of Uncle CT and Fessy and Jay, Uncle Jesse. We're back to that Uncle Jesse thing. Yeah.
Jay and Fessy.
Yeah. It'll be something else. Yeah, just hanging out.
Great.
Just making podcasts with Sarah.
He'd be sitting in the corner, wiping his eyebrows. No, I don't like when she talks.
Interrupting me. I'd be like, yep, I don't need this. I'll tell him, I need you interrupting me, Fessy. But yeah. I think that's it.
All right.
Great show.
Follow us on Twitter, Final Alliance 1, Instagram, Final Alliance, and then on YouTube, we're Final Alliance Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to us. That'd be great. Final Alliance Podcast on Spotify or wherever you do podcasts.
Thanks to Skylark.
Always thanks to Skylark.
Thanks to Klinger.
Woo woo.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.